Hello YouTube, I'm back and we're gonna go with Virtual Playtable, and I'm gonna teach you how to make a Magic the Gathering deck. So MTG or Magic the Gathering is a popular card game, but in our country it's not very popular, but it's not nearly as popular before as Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, but it has its place, and today it is getting more popular. So if you don't know how to make a deck, oh, and by the way, in real life Magic the Gathering is not very cheap, so you gotta budget it. You have to have a very large budget. So yeah, so I'm just gonna use Virtual Playtable to save money, and it's a very easy software. So first thing you got to do is to know what kind of deck you're building. So there are a lot of color decks. You can either build mono red, mono blue, mono black, mono green, and mono white. It depends. Or you can go multicolored like red blue, red green, or you can go rainbow color. Just go with all of it. But you can go with basically any combination you prefer. So first of all, you need to put your land cards. So land cards, unlike I'm just gonna type in an example of a land card. This is a basic land card, forest. So the forest, the mana cards are the ones that you're gonna use to cast your creatures. For example, see Elvish Mystic. Elvish Mystic costs 1 forest mana or green mana. So you need forest mana to enable it, so to cast it on the battlefield like that. So you're gonna build a red-green deck. So I'm gonna put some forest. So in Magic the Gathering you can go with a lot of land cards, but it must be limited, so your deck doesn't consist of full land cards. So you can either put between 20, 25 or 30 between you of what kind of deck you're using. With 20, it's either you're gonna build a deck with ramps, and I'm gonna talk about that in another video because it's low. And if it's 30 or above land cards, you're risking more. You're using more mana cards in case that you don't need, in case your creatures are very big or your spells. So I'm just gonna put 12 forest cards, and excuse me, I'm gonna put in a mountain card because it's a red-green deck. So the mountain card, all manas have the same, but some mana cards have different effects. I'm gonna talk about that in a while. So I'm gonna put in about 10 mountain cards. Oh yeah, in the Magic the Gathering you can only put in a standard deck you can only put 4 of each card. So for example, you can only put 4 Elvish Mystics, 4, yeah, like that, just 4, except for land cards, or if it's effect says you can put more than 4. So 10 mountains, and I'm gonna put in Nyctos Shrine to Nyx. So but Nyctos Shrine, so this is a legendary land card. It's very expensive. You see the cost. So it's a special land card. and it functions just as basic as any land card, but it has special effects like this 2 and tap. So when you tap a card, you just tap it, just like how you tap a card. Yeah, just gonna talk about that and later in another video. So it has special effects. I'm gonna put in 3, so I'm gonna basically have only 25 mana cards. And next you wanna have is, if you want to have a creature deck, you have to add your creatures. So I'm gonna add an Elvish Mystic because my deck is sort of a mana ramp deck. I'm gonna add 4 of it because that's the maximum number available. Excuse me. So, and you can either add more creatures if you're a creature deck like mine, or you can add spells. So I'm just gonna add my creatures, Sylvan Caryatid, 4 of it. So you can just research your cards in Magic the Gathering of what kind of effects you desire, what kind of color it is. So you can just search what kind of card you're looking for in Magic the Gathering's website. So next is and Polukranos, if it says legendary creature, you can only put 1 legendary creature in the field. So if you may ask, why did I put 2 in my deck? It's because if you want to get more of it, because if you only have 1, you have less chance of drawing it. So you can add 2 of it, but you cannot put 2 legendary creatures inside the battlefield. So just only put 2 Polukranos here. So then let's just put in our, it's optional if you want these cards. You can either add your Planeswalker. My Planeswalker for red green is Xenagos, the Reveler. So Xenagos, so again, as with legendary creatures, you can only put 1 in the field. So but still I'm gonna put 2 so I can draw it more frequently and such that. So its lowest price is $12.75. I know it's not very cheap, but real Magic the Gathering players find money to buy those. And it's optional too if you want to add your god. Before I was playing Magic the Gathering, there was no gods. So in this standard card, you can add gods. So again, my god is Xenagos, God of Revels. You can only put 1 because it's a legendary enchanting creature. Yeah, like that. So for other examples of Planeswalkers are Garruk, the Apex Predator, which is the latest M15. It's a it's a black-green Planeswalker. And another one is Liliana Vess, and it's pure black. So you just find your Planeswalker in the Magic the Gathering's website. So next is, we're gonna add our spells. So there are 2 kinds of spells: sorcery and instant spells. So for example, here Titan Strength costs 1 mana card, so you see its effects here. So what sorcery in instant means? So we're gonna start with instant. Is instant can be cast in either of your turns. For example, it's your turn, you can cast Titan Strength. Excuse me. And it's your enemy's turn, you can still cast Titan Strength. For example, if you want to empower a creature for a block or something like that to survive a spell. And sorcery is the opposite of that. You can only cast it during your turn, so if it's your opponent's turn, then sorcery cards won't work. So be mindful of the things that you see, or be mindful if your opponents are casting sorcery spells at your turn, because it happens a lot. So I'm gonna add 4 Titan Strength. 4 Titan Strength to my deck. Then another spell is Magma Jet or Lightning Strike. So again, it's an instant. We're just gonna put 2. If you're a spell deck, you can put a lot of it if you want. But I with creature decks, so it's only limited with that. It's only limited with spells, and if you see, the mana costs are not very big. And what this one gray circle means is that it's colorless mana, so you can pay any color as you wish. For example, you can so for example, you can go back and like that. Then next, I'm just gonna go stack some more creatures. Let's see. We'll put in Stormbrand Dragon, maybe about 3 of them. Then I'm gonna put a Reverend Hunter. So yeah, it's basically me just putting a lot of creatures in this deck. For example, this Reverend Hunter. So, and in Magic the Gathering, you have to think of combos, because there are cards with different synergies with other cards. So you must think of some combos in Magic the Gathering, the finisher or is very devastating. So you must think of combos when you're going with a deck, especially a spell deck. The next I'm gonna put is Commune with the Gods, which is a sorcery, so I can only cast it in my turn, but really wants to cast it during their opponent's turn. I'm gonna put 2 Commune with the Gods. Then what else did I forget? Put a Satyr Hedonist. So we have 56. So what I like to do with this is I just customize it whenever I want, if I want it. So I can either add a Cursor of Kha'Zix or other things. I'm just gonna add a Garruk. So you might ask, how am I supposed to cast that while I'm a red-green deck? I have my Sylvan Caryatid here, which gives you any color to your mana pool. So put it down you can tap it for any color mana, and I will tap it for black so I can cast my Garruk even without black mana. So with two cards remaining, you can put other things here. Just gonna put in my archetype of aggression. There's 60 cards, but it is still good with standard decks that can go over 60 cards, but I'm not still sure of that. But so just go with 60 cards as your maximum. So here's an example deck. So it's gonna take a recap of what you need. You need land cards so you can put down your features, spells, and other things. So basically, it's like the food for your soldiers and sources for your buildings, like that. And you need your creatures, so you can go attack and block if you want. You can build a deck with just creatures and spells. Yeah, you can put that, but it's not a Magic the Gathering deck if you don't have legendary creatures and planeswalkers. So yeah, and again, and you can still put your planeswalker, which is, but you can still add it if you want. It is much of a game breaker. You can also add your god if you want, and then in your spells, your instant or your sorceries. So that's just the basics of how to build a Magic the Gathering decks. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.